Hello, can you hear me? Okay. This incident that I'm about to relate to you happened about 6 years ago. It was on the banks of the River Avon, and there was a small group of people, one of them a very big North American guy, Native American man, slightly scary looking. His eyes are sort of milky colored, very big, kind of fierce. And he was with two or three others and boarded this tourist boat that was going to go for a little trip up the River Avon, and sort of journey when you go along and you see what's on either side of the river. And the guy who was the skipper of this little boat was a man about my age, I guess, bored, tired, cynical, disillusioned. He didn't actually say he was pissed off, but you could feel that he was, and sad. And it's a real story. And he'd been running this boat up and down the River Avon for many years with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of tourists. So he welcomed the people onto the boat and he took the money and they sat down and we began the trip. The engine chugging, going along very beautiful green leafy banks of the river, and this guy began to give his commentary. On the right, the huge building here on the right, the one, that's it, that's the one, that's Madonna owns that. She paid $2.5 million for that place. On the left, that's Sting's place. He's just bought another place to go onto it. That was a £10 million deal. And he just went on like this. These properties and how much they cost, and the celebrities and the lords and the people who owned them. And the engine carried on and the flies buzzed and the tourists continued to do this nodding dog thing to right and left. Until at one point suddenly this voice rang out saying, "Riverman, I have not come to your country. I have not come to this beautiful island, this Isle of Albion. I have not come here to hear about everything that you know nothing about. These rich people, these celebrity people, these people who apparently own some part of this riverbank. Riverman, why don't you tell us about what you know? Why don't you talk to us about your heart?" And this grizzled guy, used to many things from the tourists, but not particularly used to this, paused for a moment, looked across at this rather big-looking guy sat over in the boat, and he said, "Yes, well, thank you for that unasked-for speech from our loud American friend, but if you don't mind, I'll continue with the trip as I know it." On the left, Duke of Westminster, he bought that in 1960-something for $10 million. He is, of course, the first or the second richest man in the world. "Riverman!" Voice came out again. "Riverman, I'm sitting here and I feel the grief in your heart. I know that you are not speaking to us true. I know that you are clinging on by your fingernails to a life that you don't believe in. You have sailed this river hundreds of times. I feel your tears. Speak to us of your heart." And this frozen moment, all the other tourists on the boat are now like sort of heads, it's like the underground when someone starts doing the heads go down. And he said, "Riverman, I know you love this river. I know you love this land. I can feel it. speak to us about your heart. There was a long pause. And then this man began to speak in a different way. He said, "It's true." And the first tear trickled down his face. "It's true. I do love this river. I love every curve and graceful shape of her. I love the way the trees dip down and stroke the surface of the water. I love that I've seen the sward of wild flowers grow little bit, inch over land that was once scraped and built upon. I love the fact that the salmon have returned up this river. It is true that I love this river, but I don't talk about that. Talk to us about your love. And maybe you'll live another 10 years because you are dying of grief. She is your river. She's your river. You own her. The Duke of Westminster, Sting, Madonna, all the rest of them, they don't know shit about this river. You know about this river. Talk to us about your heart. And the whole trip went on like that. The whole trip. And those tourists received something they'd never received before. They heard this man, late middle age, beginning on entering his eldership, begin to speak about what he really loved, and he touched people's hearts. And he touched people's hearts. But he was speaking not just to that group of tourists, he was speaking to me, and he was speaking to you. He was speaking to us about belonging, about this land of ours, whether you were born here or not, this land of ours that feeds us and shelters us. This is the situation that we have now. We are so many of us like the tourists on that boat. We flick on the TV and we hear little bits about the Duke of Westminster or Madonna or Rod Stewart on that owning and how much money and footballers and all the rest of it, but we do not hear, or we most need to hear, that this is our land